I mentioned all of the detailed information that aPriori generates. It has all the details about rates, cycle times, setup times, etc. So as you're using the 5 whys, you can compare the estimate details to the supplier's details. So you can tell the supplier, I'm estimating a material cost of $20, which is different from your quote. You can say, I'm assuming a utilization rate of 69% and a material rate of 171 per kilogram, and here's the sheet size I'm assuming. And then you can check on each of these points, where is the supplier different? For example, you may find out that they're using a different blank size. Whatever difference you uncover, you and the supplier have to evaluate if it's fair and reasonable or not. If it is reasonable, you can update aPriori to see how it impacts the cost. For example, say they're using a different blank size. Make that change in aPriori and see if that closes the gap between your estimate and their quote. If not, you haven't found the true root cause and you have more investigation to do. Okay, if the supplier won't give a cost breakdown or doesn't have the time to generate a cost breakdown, then what you can do is you can go line by line in the aPriori cost summary and ask, is this estimate close to your actual costs? And when you get to an item and they say, no, that's not close to the cost, that's when you stop and do the 5 whys. We had a customer that did exactly this. The supplier couldn't give a cost breakdown, so they went through the aPriori estimate line by line and asked the supplier if their estimate was close to the quote. When the customer got to the direct overhead line item in the cost summary, the supplier said their direct overhead was much higher. So the customer stopped and said, okay, well, here are the assumptions that go into direct overhead: the machine type, the cycle time, the machine cost. And the supplier said they were using a larger machine than aPriori estimated. Turns out they did not own a smaller machine. The supplier said, we don't really know why you had us quote this part. We make all huge parts for you, but you're a good customer, and so we wanted to give you the business. So in that instance, the customer had to make a decision if they wanted to find a supplier that was better suited for the part. If the supplier says they don't even have time to let you go through your estimate and indicate if the estimate is close to the actual cost, then you can at least go through the manufacturing steps to make sure you have everything captured. Maybe you'll uncover the supplier uses different machines or a different process than aPriori shows. Or you might find out that they're outsourcing an operation. And by the way, if that happens, now you've learned something about the supplier capabilities, so you'll be able to make estimates and vet quotes from them much better in the future, and you'll be able to have them quote parts they're best suited for in the future. You can also use the data to guide you to ask for specific pieces of information if they're not able to share a cost breakdown. For example, if aPriori says most of the cost is in overhead, you can ask them to confirm the machine they're using. Or if most of the cost is in labor, you can ask them to confirm the labor time. Or you can start by asking them if they agree that labor is the biggest cost driver. If they're coming to you with a price increase due to material rates increasing, then it's the perfect time to confirm the material rate they're using if you don't know already. So use the data and the cost drivers in aPriori to inform how you navigate the discussion. And as always, decide if the supplier's answers are fair and reasonable. If so, incorporate it into the model. If the gap is still not closed, then continue the investigation.